The Jacksonville Jaguars have recently fired Doug Marrone. But we want to know though, what's next for Jacksonville and what steps should they take to rebuild this offseason? Let's eat.
What time is it? Game time! Boo!
What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Edwin, aka King Jollof, and we are back again, reporting live from the TIAA Stadium. You know what I'm saying? You guys can see that TIAA Bank Stadium, where the Jacksonville Jaguars play on Sundays and Sunday nights and Sunday afternoons, all of that. So, anyways, we got some news coming from Jacksonville regarding the head coach. The head coach, former head coach right now, Doug Marrone, has been fired. He's gone. He's rid enough. Now, the Jacksonville Jaguars, to me, I know people were trying to come for the Jets and saying that we were pretty much the worst team in the NFL, but I actually thought that the Jacksonville Jaguars were the worst team in the NFL, even though at some point throughout the season they had a better record than us, one game record. But Jacksonville Jaguars were a terrible team, in my opinion. And they've been bad the past couple of seasons. So Doug Marrone, how did he become a head coach? Well, he came into the head coaching job in 2016, I believe, and that was on an interim basis because of the fact that they were so poor that year. The former head coach that year got fired, and Doug Marrone actually finished 1-1 that season. Okay, it doesn't really matter, but they believed in Doug Marrone to the point where they gave him the job permanently next year, and boy was that year special. Doug Marrone led that Jacksonville Jaguars team to an AFC Championship appearance. That team was led by Blake Bortles. You had Leonard Fournette running hard on the ground, and on top of that, that defense was ferocious. I'm talking about that defense was probably the best defense in the league at that point, probably top 5. I can't remember the exact numbers, but they were ferocious. You know, you had Yannick Ngakoue, Calais Campbell, the two lockdown cornerbacks, AJ Boye, and then Jalen Ramsey. So many pieces, so much talent on that team. So after that season, though, before that season, actually, let's get into it before they made the playoffs. They hadn't made the playoffs since 2007. So that year, they made the playoffs 2017. So that 10-year difference, you can see how long it's been since that fan base has tasted a lick of playoff football. So that was a great accomplishment for Doug Marrone in itself because of the fact that he was able to take this team, who were doing poorly the season before, and take them all the way to the championship round. So that, I give him props, where they would eventually lose to the New England Patriots. I still remember that game. It was crazy. But anyways, so after all that, you would think that Jacksonville would kick on after winning the division, after making the playoffs, and they did the exact opposite. I cannot believe what happened. That team totally regressed. I'm talking about regress. The defense was bad. The offense was looking a shell of its former self, and Doug Marrone ended up finishing 23-43 in his time as a Jacksonville Jaguars head coach. Now, the past 3 seasons, Jacksonville Jaguars, they finished last in the division. That's 1. And 2, they finished a combined 12 and 36. 12 and 36 in the last 3 seasons. That's terrible. This past season that just ended, they finished with the worst franchise record in a season ever. 1-15. That's terrible. That's hot garbage. So I don't understand exactly why they would give Doug Marrone another chance, being that, you know, he had back-to-back losing seasons, because I get it. First off, you take your team to the AFC Championship game, and then the next season right there, you have a bad season. The next season after that, you have another bad season. Remember, this is a big drop-off from going from a championship conference round to being last in the division 2 times in a row. But now, you thought that Doug Marrone couldn't do worse than that. He did just that, and he contributed to the fact that the Jaguars were the worst team in the NFL this season, and on top of that, they finished with the worst record in franchise history, 1-15. So it's mind-boggling as to why they gave Doug Marrone another chance, but the damage is done, and now the Jacksonville Jaguars will look in another direction. So where will they go from here? Well, the first overall pick, they can draft my guy Trevor Lawrence. Trevor Lawrence could be their savior. It's more than likely that they will draft Trevor Lawrence, and it would be pretty stupid if they don't draft Trevor Lawrence. Like, I'll be honest. I think everybody would pretty much agree with that fact. But anyways, Trevor Lawrence could be their savior for this season and for many more seasons because of the fact that the Jacksonville Jaguars have not had QB stability in probably the last 10 years, maybe the last decade or so. Blake Bortles was nothing more than a game manager, and even though he played relatively well in the playoffs in 2017, he was still not that good. He was pretty average, if you ask me. And the Jacksonville Jaguars, can you believe that the Jacksonville Jaguars were a QB away from actually going to the Super Bowl? Like, it's crazy. But anyways, Trevor Lawrence can solve that issue right there. And on top of that, the Jacksonville Jaguars have so much cap space. They are projected to be the league leaders this offseason for the most cap space this season, which means that they can go out there, spend a ton of cash, and fill in all those holes that is needed on the team. So, and on top of that, the head coaching and GM vacancy makes the job much more appealing because they have so much draft capital. They have the first overall pick, and on top of that, they have the most cap space in the NFL. So the Jacksonville Jaguars are looking pretty good right now. Pretty good. And on top of that, they have some nice young promising pieces. DJ Chark, Laviska Shenault, James Robinson, who rushed for 1,000 yards this season. Pretty much no one really knew about him coming out of college like that. And he just came out and balled out for the Jacksonville Jaguars in a bad season on a bad team. So credit to them, credit to the whole young cast of players that they have. They will be one of the more promising teams in the future. Now, what coach or what possible coach could be the right guy for the Jaguars? I'll tell you. Eric Bieniemy, he will be a hot list. Like he's on the hot list. He will be one of the more popular names this offseason for head coaching. Eric Bieniemy, I say Joe Brady, and I would give Brian Daboll a shout too because Brian Daboll is a QB guru. We all know what he did with Josh Allen. Joe Brady has a little bit of experience with the Carolina Panthers, but for him to turn that offense into what it was, considering the pieces that they had, he made the offense really respectable. So he will get a shout. And Eric Bieniemy, as you guys know, this guy is the top dog. He is the best of the best when it comes to the coaching crop of this year's offseason. So we'll see how that goes in the future. But let me know who you guys think would be a good fit for the Jaguars to fill in for their head coaching vacancy. Will it be Eric Bieniemy, Joe Brady, or will it be Brian Daboll? I think it'd probably be Joe Brady. I think they'll probably go for a low-key kind of guy, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Jacksonville Jaguars get a guy like Eric Bieniemy because they have such an attractive, appealing offer on the table for any coach that walks in that door. So we'll see how that goes in the future. But anyways, guys, that's all we have for this video. The Jacksonville Jaguars are obviously the winners for today because they get to now go in a new direction, do a full rebuild, and they have to have all that money, all that draft capital, the first overall pick, and we'll see what they do with these tools at their disposal. Guys, thank you guys so much for this video, watching it, everything. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the video, to the channel. And always remember, as I grow, we grow together. Now stay tuned for the next video.